All right, thank you. Thanks for coming. So my name is Scott. I'm co-founder and CTO of Kite. Kite is built the first agentic payment blockchain. A little bit about myself. I spent the last 15 years building foundational data and AI infrastructure in Bay Area, in Silicon Valley. So yeah, I spent the last 15 years building that. So I think we are living in a very exciting area. What happened in last 7 weeks, I think it's actually exceeded what happened in last 70 years for software engineering. So half of the material actually present is actually new. If you're not a developer, you're probably going to mind blown by what's actually happened in last 7 weeks. But if it room out in a very high level, I think we are looking into like an agentic first time. This is actually bigger than internet, .com bubble. This is bigger than mobile area. This is much, much bigger than anything else. Last year, I also come ETHDenver here. I did a demo. This is actually the demo I did last year. So this is actually everything run locally. So basically say I ask my local agent help me order a burger from McDonald's. I give my agent $30, and my agent will do this end to end. Remember, this is actually last year. Last year you're already able to do this. It seems that it's got access denied, and maybe it's an internet issue. So I do have a video recording just in case it got access denied. So you can see that the agent is smart enough. In this case, it will planning for every single step, and it will go to the Uber Eats and then click through you as if you are the user here. And then notice that it's published like April last year. And then underlying what agents say, unlike human, you seeing this step. So basically you see the whole information of HTML page in a visual format, and then trying to figure out what to click next. So agent will planning, say, I want to order a burger on McDonald's. And then it will go there, it will order a burger, complete every single step for you. Order Uber is actually 95% success rate. Uber Eats is roughly 70%. And then this happens last April. And this year, we have this chatbot. I don't know how many of them installed the chatbot. I installed them like 3 weeks ago. I'm really amazed by its performance. This is actually, I asked chatbot help me do some web coding, some change image to video in this case. Notice that chatbot is actually not integrated with any of the image to video automation. So what it do is that first that, hey, I need to do image to video conversion. It will look up on internet, figure out there is 4 vendors here, provide image to video conversion. And then it asked me to register in one of the vendor and give an API key to my chatbot. I just did give an API key to my chatbot, and now chatbot has this skill which learn on the fly to generate image to video and give me this 2 image to video generation, which I found pretty amazing. So what actually happened here is that all this is revolutionary. What actually happens all within last 5 weeks to 6 weeks. Like if you're comparing to early last year, August of last year, if you look at the models here, it still can do very small stuff. It can solve like a 30% error coding problem without going any error. But fast forward to December, when the ChatGPT 5.2 and Opus 4.5 actually come, it becomes an inflection point, because now you actually have engineering, like have coding agent doing much better engineering than senior engineering itself. And then, so this is actually a project built by TiDB, completely use AI to revamp the front end. To instead of use MySQL as a SQL parser, they completely rebuild, use Postgres as SQL parser. It's an amazing amount of work. It's roughly 10% of total work. They accumulate over more than 10 years, and then completed by one engineer in less than 2 weeks. Like original SQL front-end parser, it took like 7 engineers a year and a half to build. This is not a standalone. If you look at Anthropic posted like a week ago, less than 2 weeks ago, they basically have the Opus rewrote C compiler use Rust less than in 1 day and spend less than $10K. So now you can actually completely rewrote the compiler, like a fundamental infrastructure code, use agent with very little human intervention in this case. So the model become a better developer. So I think as any software developer, you should think about how do I actually design an evaluation system? How should I design a test case? What should I have for engineering taste? Is actually do the concrete coding yourself, because agents are coding faster than you do. Someone show coding at Monday.com in less than 1 week. In this case, like a customized Monday.com just for your team. In this case, so. This is a very interesting, saying AI is hitting a wall, but this, if you're growing like exponential speed, you're probably not hitting a wall. And this METR is one of the very meaningful tests published like mid last year. It means that how long the agent can execute with 50% accuracy rate. When I do the demo last year in ETHDenver, I think it's 14 minutes. And fast forward today, it's roughly 7 hours in this case, and it's growing still at exponential speed. Notice that the latest metric on this is GPT 5.2. If we look at the next one, what happens here is that, based on the virtual evaluation, GPT 5.2 only has 35 success rate. It's the last one in this list, which released December 18. But if we look at the one released last week, GPT 5.3, it's already reached 90%. So the performance, even for the last 2 months, tripled, comparing to the success rate for this Next.js coding generation, tripled in less than 2 months. So this actually brings, fundamental change. If you do the coding, now actually generate code is not the hardest thing. It's like, what do you want to do with the code? What do you want to do with the AI is actually the most important thing. So this is actually the model side. There is tons of the impressive, breakthrough on the model, but there is also tons of the good practice about engineering. Everyone hear about Cloud Code. What Cloud Code is actually not improve on the model level, but what they did is actually improvement on the engineering level. First is that it actually completely give up this MCP in this case, because MCP is introduced tons of things agent don't like. Agent a developer, agent like execute code, agent to like read MD file, markdown file, because it's intent for developer, it's intent to agent in this case. So what OpenCloud did is that it's actually use the file system and skill.md. In this case, it's actually replace RAG. If you still have someone doing the RAG, you should reevaluate if RAG is the right solution for you, because now the foundation model becomes so smart. You don't want to outsmart your foundation model. You should just give your foundation model like MD file, easy to use skills, and let your foundation model figure out what to do next. So the RAG is probably going to go to historical dustbin. Then you have MCP to be replaced by skills. The next, if I ask me to make a prediction, I predict like prompt pipeline engineering will be history, and then LangChain will be history, and workflow will be history. So everything is moving at exponential speed in this case, and then we don't know where it's at. At least for the next 3 months, everything is changing, fundamentally different. And then we say another thing. When I did the demo, when I showed the demo like last April demo, the agent is reading screenshot of HTML in this case. So it has to figure out all those information from this image, like what's actually going on here. And then you see that the agent see much more information than this information. But what Cloudera Open is that offer is actually provide every single HTML convert to a markdown file. In this case, now you actually have an agent native format you can read to make it much easier to read. And then this will actually reduce the context window for any agent to process easily by 80% or 95%. So make an accuracy level much higher. So it's already happening. You're going to have an internet for agent native. You're going to have an agent native internet based on markdown file. You have agent native browser from Chrome in this case, and you actually have CAPTCHA just for agent released this morning, in this case. So nowadays you have to verify your agent in order to do some posting and do things. And then, so I think the industry leader are calling out for API-first approach as well in this case. So if your platform, if your service is not API first, if your platform service not API first, you basically don't exist. for the agent because agent can only read API. For example, when I ask an agent to generate this image to video generation, the reason agent was able to complete this because there is an API from Runway. So agent was able to read Runway API doc and then say, I just need an API key to convert the rest of the conversion. And then it happens with OOPS, this dashboard generation as well. So every single company is going to become an API-first company. Otherwise, you don't exist for agent. And we're probably going to have an agent marketplace as well in the future, in the near future. This is actually web coding I coded for agent marketplace. So you will have ratings for agent, you will have reputation for agent. This is actually very aligned with ERC 8004, this proposal for the agent ID and agent reputation. Okay, if we look at very high level, a common pattern we see is that user going to delegate the work to agent. And agent will actually interact on behalf of you. It's going to be a delegation based. And then the agent may interact with another agent. Agent may interact with Uber services, Uber Eats services. Agent may call GPU to rental. Agent may call data API to provide some API services. So this is a common pattern. You're going to have human-based internet to agent-based internet. So what actually Kite play in this case is provide a Kite passport to let user fully trust their agent and delegate work to their agent. Because today, if you ask me, hey agent, help me do something research, Twitter research, okay, you're probably 100%, out of 100 probably comfortable doing it. But you say, hey agent, help me do all the shopping stuff. This is my credit card. And I'm betting you the agent will spend the money in machine speed, at machine speed, any given time in this case. You probably need to replace your credit card every few days in this case, because essentially, credit card is just one private key. If you're exposed to your agent, you don't know what agent is going to do with your credit card, and you don't actually know who you're going to spend your credit card at what time in this case. So that's why we need to calling for agentic first internet. In this case, you need ID for agent, you need authorization for agent, and you need payment for agent. Why this is an issue? Because, for example, for the demo use case I run locally, Uber Eats don't recognize it's actually my agent scanning through this website. It thought it's me actually doing this searching. In this case, from service provider perspective, from service agent perspective, they need to figure out it's actually the user's command or agent's command. Without that separation of the ID for agent and owner, without an ownership delegation between user and the agent, it's actually not going to work in this case because the whole existing work built based on the credits in this case. And then you need to figure out what action belong to user and what action belong to agent. The second thing is that authorization will be a very important issue as well. Because think about this, if I want to use 10 different types of service, I need to create API key for every single service. Imagine this with millions of users. You have M times N auth nightmare issue. Because whatever agent you build to want to serve your customer, you need to ask them to register API key for Uber Eats, for Uber, for every single platform in this case. So auth will be a very particularly hard issue in this case. You don't want API key to let agent access each of the services. Otherwise, you're going to have M times a nightmare in this case. So that's going to be an issue you need to solve. The last part is payment. If you look at about the payment pattern between human payment and agent payment, they are very extremely different. If we look at human payment, the first thing that you need to is looking for the thing you want to shopping and check out and make payment last step. But for agent payment, most likely you're going to give delegation first. For example, for the Uber Eats demo I did, is that I have $30, buy me a burger, figure me out something. I want to arrange a birthday party, buy me a birthday cake, figure it out in this case. So we want to delegation first. If we look at the price discovery, the who initialize, who discovered the product, who discovered the price, who make a comparison between different vendors and different service provider, it's all different entity. The payment pattern is different as well. Like for human payment, you're going to have the sweet spot is $3, $10 to $10,000 because you need to pay credit card company 3% fee plus 30 cents per transaction. So in that case, it makes like a percent spending almost invisible. But for agent, most likely you're going to call one API, pay 1 cent or few cents in this case. So the payment pattern is extremely different. And then last the data structure is going to be different. For existing human payment, it's one-off payment. I want to buy a birthday cake. I went to this website and buy a birthday cake. But for agent, most likely you're going to say, hey, help me arrange a birthday party, invite all 15 of my friends, book a venue here. So the agent will try different API service, comparing different birthday cake and then looking for a place to rental. It will do this step by step. At the end of the day, you have intent to invoice, to execution, to receive. You may have a millionth invoice just because you call different types of API service, looking for weather, looking for a venue to rent, inviting 15 friends, in this case, interact with your agent to make sure the time works for them, so that will happen. So Kite provide, actually skip it. This is actually what a developer can build on top of us. So Kite provide two types of service just for agent payment, AI payment. So underlying, Kite has Kite layer 1 blockchain. So this provides zero fee in this case. So you don't need to buy Kite token. My design philosophy as a CTO of the company is that even my drunk grandma can use it in this case at any day in this case. So our ideal use flow is that my drunk grandma comes here, I want to buy a birthday cake, he deposits $100 on PayPal, and then in this case and say, hey, say to the OpenCloud agent, say, help me buy a birthday cake. I want to deliver it tomorrow. So the OpenCloud agent will go through the Kite agent passport, log into different website. It could be Amazon website. It could be like a birthday cake website. It will completely generate this policy envelope. In this case, it's $100 upper limit. I need to buy this in 24 hours. This has this limitation. In this case, some restriction on this case. It will compare in different vendor, make decision, make purchase at the end of the day, and then you will have intent match to invoice, match to receipt, and then in this case, end-to-end traceable and auditable. So underlying, it will happen on Kite AI blockchain with zero gas fee, and you can pay in stablecoin. You don't need to expose to any of the token, just PayPal in, PayPal out. Okay, so one thing makes us fundamentally different than any of the existing solution. If you look at our website, you found Stripe is rolling out a crypto solution. In this case, Coinbase released like a Agentic wallet earlier this week. One thing we found is fundamental difference is that Kite is actually built for a 3 tiers, so the Kite passport is fundamentally different. Kite is actually built for 3 tiers of ID system. So every user has an ID. Every agent will have ID. For example, my cloud agent will have an ID. My ChatGPT agent will have ID. It will have its own reputation as well. But I don't expose this money to my agent directly. Instead, it will generate a one-time session key. The session key is actually delegation first. So it's like $100, good for 24 hours, just make a birthday cake purchase. And then in this case, Kite Passport will guarantee you, in this case, like your spending will not exceed limit, and your spending is actually matched to your intent in this case, end-to-end traceable to your intent. Okay, so this is below in our launching partners. And if you are building an agent, if you are building a service for agent, come reach out to us, and then we have several folks here. In this case, if you're looking for a partner, come to reach out to us as well. So yeah, so a little bit introduction about Kite team. So I'm co-founder and CTO. My co-founder Chi was previously a product manager and Databricks. He was previously an AI PhD from UC Berkeley. We also just recruited Haido AI from PayPal joining us. He actually joining us at the end of this month, and then he leads the integration between PayPal and OpenAI. And we have another machine learning expert, Yusuke, leads the machine learning part. He is previously a co-founder of Data, one of the largest AutoML company. We also have a blockchain leadership team. And then we have Lei previously the head of BD at Near Foundation, and Vico previously head of ecosystem and Near Foundation. We also have Henry, founded Solana super team in Malaysia from Solana ecosystem. We have Yijing previously doing this manager and investment in VMware. We are backed by the best of the AI and crypto company, PayPal Venture, Coinbase, General Catalyst, and then we are also listed on the exchange. So anyway, so if you have any questions, looking for partnership, looking for more questions about agentic payment, I think this is the future. In less than 5 years, in less than 10 years, I believe in less than 10 years, 95% of payment will be done by AI, because payment is the most tedious step. If you're doing a purchase today, you need to fill like 14 fields in credit card to make a purchase. This is not going to be scalable in this case. That's the most tedious, most boring step. this should be fully automated and auto-delegated to the agent. So I believe in 10 to 15 years, every single purchase will be done by like a agentic payment. Thank you.
Perfect time.